Hello, this is a guy who likes fanfiction and is too lazy to read, so here is Fire Emblem 3 Houses Only Love Can Hurt Like This Part 1 in audio form. Check the description for the links to the author. Chapter 76, Lover's Stone Bridge. That next morning, there was a knock on Dida's door. Dida was up and dressed already, though his nose was red and his eyes looked sleepy. He answered the door. He had his school bag on. "Ah, hello, I was just heading to class." Ash was there, smiling. He was holding some flowers that smelled really nice. "Good morning, Didu. I hope you don't mind me dropping in early." He seemed really happy to see Didu. "Oh, Ash." Didu smiled. "What a pleasure to see you so bright and early," he said. "Would you like to walk to class with me?" "I would be delighted. I actually came to ask, are you feeling all right? I heard from His Highness that you had a cold. He was constantly bringing you soup and blankets and tissues yesterday." "Ah, yes. I fear I have come down with a cold." "Do not worry, it's nothing too serious." Didu shook his head. "I am feeling run down, but it's nothing a visit from a cherished friend can't fix." "Well, here. These are for you." Ash smiled and handed Didu the flowers he was carrying. When most people come down with colds, they usually stay cooped up in their rooms. Maybe these can give you something pretty to look at while you're resting in bed. "Ash, thank you so much." He took the flowers. "You did not have to go through the trouble for me, though I appreciate it," he said. "I will think of you every time I look at these. I just hope my sniffling is not a disruption to class." Ash's face lit up when Didu said the flowers would remind him of him. He shook his head. "Oh no. No. Your sniffling won't be a bother at all. You're sick, you can't help it," he said as they turned into the classroom. "Please don't catch my cold. I could never forgive myself," Didu said, sitting in his seat beside Dimitri. "Felix wasn't in class today. If I caught your cold, I wouldn't mind one bit. Because I'm proud to spend my time with you." Ash smiled and started getting his things out of his bag as he sat with Annette and Mercedes. "Hello, friends. Today is beautiful." He wrote the date on the top of his paper and prepared for notes. Annette giggled. "It is, isn't it?" She smiled. Mercedes gave Ash a side hug. "Good morning, Ash," she exclaimed. Dimitri took out a quill and started to write some of the notes down, but the tip snapped off. Ink started leaking all over the place. Sylvain was in class, but he just had his head down the whole time. He still didn't have his jacket, so he looked messy. Hanneman walked over to Sylvain's desk and slammed a book shut. Startled, Sylvain woke up, looking around. "Pay attention," Hanneman said, then walked to the front of the class again. Ingrid continuously shot glances at Dimitri, Sylvain, and Felix's empty chair. Didu kept sneezing and coughing during the lecture. "Before you leave, make sure you complete the exit slip and put it on my desk." "Thank you," Hanneman said, passing out a little slip of paper. Ash was stuck. He was showing his work very well, though. Sylvain just wrote a random wrong answer on the sheet before sulking out of the room. Dimitri tried to answer it correctly, but his page was so full of ink that Hanneman would probably have a hard time reading it. Annette so nicely helped Ash with his exit slip. It was a really tricky one. Everyone had turned in their slips, and began exiting the classroom. After wiping his hands off, Dimitri walked over to Ingrid. He asked, "Are you still all right with meeting me in town today? We made plans yesterday, I just wanted to make sure you were still able to fit them in." He smiled. "What?" Ingrid looked over at him, as if she didn't hear him the first time. "Ah, yes. Plans." She nodded. "I can. Not for too long though. I'm sorry, I think I should check up on Felix if he doesn't show up to lunch today." "Oh, right. He didn't show up to class today." Dimitri looked back at the classroom, then at Ingrid. "It's probably better to check up on him, anyway. If you need to cancel, that's fine." No, I don't need to cancel, that is, I don't want to cancel," she said, touching his arm lightly. She quickly drew her hand away for some reason. "He's just, really not doing too well. At all. That's the only reason." Really? I didn't know that. I'm sorry to hear it. If he needs anything, he can always ask me for help as well. I'm not sure why he would, but I'm here. Dmitri nodded. Anyway, I'll leave you some time to prepare. I'll be waiting for you at the path near the river. Okay, he said, then walked out. Okay. Yes, I will be there. I promise. Ingrid exclaimed. She went to her room to get ready. She decided not to go and visit Felix yet. She could see him after her plans were through. She made her way towards the river. Dimitir was standing near the gazebo where he went on his date with Hilda back when he was still figuring things out. He gazed into the water, not seeing Ingrid as she approached. Your Highness. She stood beside him, looking into the water as well. Hello. She smiled. What would you like to do today? Oh. Ingrid. Dmitri turned to see her after noticing his reflection next to his. I don't know why that surprised me. I knew you were coming. He let out a soft laugh. Anyway, I thought we could visit a special place. Come on. He started walking along the path. Even though the leaves in the trees were starting to fall, the sun still shone brightly, and it was a really nice day. Oh, okay. Ingrid nodded, following him closely. She didn't say much. For some reason she wasn't very talkative today. She wondered as to what place he could be taking her. He brought her to a bridge that crossed over the lake, then stood on the edge of it with her. There were countless names etched into the stone, and small works of art as well. Remember when we talked about you serving at my side for the rest of our lives? He began, looking at her. Yes. I do. She said it more as a question than anything, as she slowly glided her hand along the wall. This is gorgeous. May I ask what this is, exactly? I was running errands the other day, and I happened to cross this bridge on my way back. I heard a woman talking to her husband about how if two people carve their names next to each other on this bridge, they will remain together through whatever life has to give. But, in order for it to work, they must do it together hand in hand. He took a small dagger from his belt. Sylvain had his name on the bridge in multiple places with the names of random girls that he never saw again, but they were all scratched out. There was even a spot where his name was etched next to Caitlin's, but it looked freshly scratched. But Dmitri, that sounds a bit like a wedding vow. Ingrid blushed. Yes. I would very much like to spend the remainder of my life with you. She moved a bit closer to him, definitely misinterpreting his statement. It does sound a bit like that, the more I think about it, but what you said about being my knight got me thinking about this place. I know that it's probably just a silly little legend, but I happen to think it is full of great symbolism. Etching our names here would be pretty symbolic of our bond, don't you think? He still hadn't caught on that she actually had feelings for him. He asked, so? Would you like to carve our names onto the bridge so that we may safely cross into the future together? Ingrid's face was bright pink. Yes, Your Highness. I would like nothing more, she said with a smile, grabbing onto his hand which held the dagger. Then let us immortalize our loyalty with this dagger. Our names will mark this stone forever. He started carving his name into the stone. He was trying to do a good job, but his hand was very shaky and was having a hard time making his name look neat. Ingrid honestly thought it was cute how much trouble he was having. Once he finished, she slipped the dagger underneath into her own hand, and carved her own name quite beautifully into the stone. She let her arm drop to her side, and looked over at Dmitri. He held onto her hand as she carved her name, admiring her beautiful penmanship. Once they were finished, he sheathed the dagger once again, then looked at their names before looking at Ingrid. Thank you. He smiled, calmly. Ingrid opened her mouth to say something, but instead, she placed her hands on Dmitri's shoulders to pull him forwards. She kissed him gently on the lips. Immediately, Dmitri's heart started pounding. His first instinct was to back away and maybe even give her a little push, but he didn't. He wanted to be polite, so he just let her do it, not kissing her back. Ingrid pulled away quickly, keeping her eyes on him. Oh God. I'm so sorry, she shook her head. I don't know what came over me. Dmitri felt really awkward. Ingrid, he glanced at the name carving, then back at her, seeming confused. Ingrid, he stopped talking, like he had more to say, but couldn't quite get it out. I'm so sorry, she said again, this time covering her mouth. I don't know what compelled me to do that. That was so inappropriate. Calm down, Ingrid. It's okay, he didn't want to make her feel bad, so he needed her to know that he didn't return her feelings in a gentle way. He said, I care about you a lot, nothing will ever change that. He met her eyes even though he was embarrassed. I've been misinterpreting everything you've been telling me, haven't I? Ingrid shook her head. This is so embarrassing. I need to go. She turned and hurried out of town. No. Wait. Ingrid. Dmitri chased after her, but lost track of her since she got a head start on him. He stopped at the end of the path, looking in the direction she went. Ingrid, he frowned, letting out a sigh, wishing that she hadn't run away. She could just barely be seen, slipping herself through the crowd of people. She didn't dare look back at him. She continued making her way forwards, and ended up seeking Sylvain's attention instead. She frantically knocked on his door. Sylvain was inside, laying in bed facing the wall. His eyes were half closed, and there was a pen and paper by his bedside that wasn't used yet. The knocking startled him awake, and he went to get the door. He hoped that it might be Felix, but knew it was a slim chance. When he saw Ingrid looking frantic, he let her in at once. Are you okay? No, Sylvain, I'm not. She walked in without even asking, and turned to face him. I kissed Dmitri. I don't know why, I don't even know how it happened, but I did, and now I can't go back. She shook her head. You what? Wait, what? Sylvain closed the door, immediately becoming absorbed in her troubles. You kissed him. He raised his eyebrows. Wait, was this a quick peck or a full-on smooch? Did he kiss you back? Details please. Ingrid groaned, rubbing her eyes. He asked to carve our names together on the stone bridge in town. It felt very romantic, to me at least, and when we were done, I kissed him. He felt super tense and weird. He barely kissed me back. It was like a 3-second thing. She explained, looking at Sylvain now. He hated it. I don't know why I assumed he would like me the same way. He's the prince, after all. Did he tell you he hated it? Or did you just make that up because you weren't sure? He said, Ingrid, as a guy who's been in many relationships, and has kissed many people, let me tell you this, you're gonna be an absolute wreck if you let this get to you. So take it from me and stop overthinking. But. She sighed. Well, I guess I did run away before he was able to get a word in, she told him. I can't face him ever again, this is so embarrassing. I should just stay away from love. Trust me. There are more awkward things that could have happened. I've been there. And to save you from some second-hand embarrassment, I'll just leave that up to your own imagination. But anyway, this isn't about me. He said, you just ran away after it happened and didn't let him say anything? Wow, okay. Well, chances are he's just as confused as you are. This is Dmitri we're talking about. I tried to help him with his flirting game once, and it was a disaster. I don't think he even knows the definition of romance. He probably just hasn't kissed anyone before and didn't know what to do. I feel awful, Sylvain, she admitted, standing back up. I honestly don't know why I did that. I wish I could take it back. I really do. It's just, it felt so different from kissing Dorothea and I. She gasped, as if she didn't want Sylvain to know that. Whoa. Wait. Back it up. What did you say? A shocked look appeared on Sylvain's face. Actually, I heard what you said as plain as day. You kissed Dorothea. He shook his head. You could have told me. You think I'm gonna judge you for that? He paused. Wait, but now I'm confused. Is it Dorothea or Dmitri that you're interested in? Sylvain, I don't know, she said, angrily. Being with Dorothea it's really nice. But Dmitri, he's everything I've ever wanted in a partner, she exclaimed. Dorothea and I are just friends. I don't think I want to be anything more than that with her. But then again, I don't think things will work out with the prince. Her words seemed unsure. Your love life is more complicated than I thought, Ingrid. Welcome aboard. Sylvain put his arm around her shoulders, and he continued to talk with her. Sometimes, only time will tell. But if you really like her, or him, I say go for it with no regrets. Really. If they care about you at all, they wouldn't be weirded out by your feelings. I'm not the best at being sincere and talking things through, but I feel like you're good at that. So why don't you just talk it out? No. I'm done focusing on my own romances. I'm giving that up. I'm devoting the rest of my life to focusing only on knighthood, she decided. I knew love would only get in the way. He frowned. Ah, come on now, Ingrid. Yeah, love is tough, but who says you can't be a knight and fall madly in love at the same time? You never know what might happen. He paused. What if you ran away before Dmitri could confess his feelings back to you? How do you know he doesn't feel the same? Maybe you're right. I mean, I didn't even stay to ask him what he thought, Ingrid said, looking up at Sylvain. The last thing he told me is that he cares for me a lot, and nothing could ever change that. Ingrid. He probably had more to say after that. Sylvain replied. And you ran away before he could finish? What if he was gonna say something like, I care for you a lot and I didn't realize how much until you kissed me. Or, I care for you a lot, and I was waiting for the perfect moment to confess, but never got the chance. You never know, Ingrid, until you face him again. He put his hand on her shoulder. You like him a lot, right? If you really like him as much as you say you do, you should go for it. Because if he doesn't return your feelings, it's better to get the heartbreak phase done and over with early. Trust me. You think so? Ingrid sighed, leaning her forehead into him. Maybe you're right. I'll talk to him again, I will. But I can't do it today. I feel so awkward. So you're gonna leave him waiting? He probably thinks he hurt your feelings, knowing the way his mind works. He kept his arm around her, giving her a pat on the back to try and comfort her. I just feel like all of this is going to get in the way of my training. I mean, look at Felix. He hasn't done anything for 2 whole days. She glanced up at Sylvain. No offense. Sorry to bring that up. But it's true. I just feel like affairs of the heart will only get in my way. I need to forget about all of it. Sylvain moved his arm away from her and crossed his arms after she mentioned Felix, suddenly feeling gloomy just at the mention of his name. Yeah. It sucks. You think I've been able to do anything either? He frowned. Yeah, there's a painful side to love, but it will also make you the happiest person in the world. Do what's best for you. I will support you either way. She sighed again. Thank you, Sylvain. Really. It's nice to be able to talk to you like this. I'm gonna head to the training grounds and Felix. I promised I'd go check on him, Ingrid shook her head. Well, thanks again. I'll see you soon, alright. Yeah. Sylvain said. Make sure he's not doing anything to hurt himself. He curled up on his side again on his bed. I'll be here if you need me. Ironically, you come to me for relationship advice when I haven't been able to keep a steady one, ever. You should probably stop doing that unless you wanna end up as a worthless fool like me. He paused. Anyway. See you later. Sylvain. She snapped, I don't wanna hear it. Without another word, she turned and exited his room. Ingrid did end up making her way to Felix's room, and what she found in there was heavily disturbing. Chapter 77, If I knew you were comin' I'd have baked a cake. Happy was in Abyss, sitting alone in the classroom. Balthus walked into the room where Happy was sitting. He was holding an empty tin that said donations on it. He set the cup down next to Happy and said, Hey friend. Got any spare change? What the heck, B? I'm not giving you donations. She was trying not to laugh at him with the little change jar. That money isn't even going to a good cause, it's going to you. Am I not a good cause? Balthus sat next to her and lounged in a broken chair. Think of all the good stuff I'd be able to do for the world if I wasn't tied down by all these debts. He didn't list anything, though. Right. So much stuff, huh, she said, looking at him for a brief moment before looking away again. What did you come here for anyways? To scrounge some money out of me. Yeah. Pretty much. You know me. My pockets are getting lighter and lighter by the day. You remember the sleepover we all had? Most of my money went into helping Claude pay for all the drinks. He laughed. Well, just save your money, then. I'm not going to pay for you so you can blow it all on drinks again, she said. What makes you think I'm gonna do that? Happy eyed him from the side. Okay, actually, there are a lot of reasons why I would probably do that, but still. I'm serious about paying off my debt this time. Right. Okay. Happy nodded, not believing his words. So, are you just gonna stick around or what? She asked, not looking at him. I don't know. Do you not want me to? 'Cause I got nothing better to do, honestly. I was gonna see if Yuri wanted to make some bets so I could possibly win some money, but I can't find him anywhere. You can't? Where is he? She suddenly seemed interested in the conversation. She stood up from her seat. Is he not in his room? No. Maybe he's upstairs. I don't know. He's been hard to catch recently. I saw him yesterday and went to give him a brug, but he just ignored me with a weird look on his face. He never rejects my brugs. Like, what the hell? He shrugged. Should we go find him? Happy grabbed Balthus by the arm. Come on. She started tugging on him. Let's go find Yuri Bird. I mean, if he doesn't want us to find him, there's probably a pretty good reason as to why he's gone. Maybe we should leave it alone. He didn't budge when she tugged him. Oh, alright, let's go find him. Come on. He started walking. What if a dark mage ate his head off or something? Happy said, dropping his arm. I mean, really, you never know. She walked alongside him. Ate his head off. Balthus was weirded out by her theory. I don't think so. Last time I saw him this morning, his head was 100% where it was supposed to be, he commented. What was that? About my head being eaten off. Yuri walked up to them from behind, looking confused. Yuri, hey. We were looking for you, Happy said, turning to face him. I thought maybe your head got eaten. Looks like you're safe and sound to me. Nope. My head's been screwed on a little more loose than usual lately, but it's still there. Yuri sighed. Balthus walked up to him and grabbed him by the head and started jiggling it around. Whoa. Your head is loose. You got a screw loose or something. He pretended to tighten Yuri's head. Knock it off, Balthus. You're messing up my hair. Yuri shoved away from Balthus, combing his hair out with his fingers to make sure it looked good. Happy blinked a few times, just watching the both of them. Okay. She raised her eyebrows. Anyways, have either of you seen Coco lately? She hasn't been down here. Like. At all. Seems like both of you guys have been pretty distant. Nope. She and I had an argument yesterday. I haven't talked to her since. Yuri shook his head. An argument? Over what? Balthus asked. None of your business, replied Yuri. Happy looked at Balthus. Don't worry. I'll hear about it from Constance, and then I'll tell you everything I know, she assured him, patting him on the shoulder. Great to know you're gonna go around talking about my personal affairs. Yuri sighed, trying to change the subject. You two were looking for me, yes? What is it that you want? Oh. No, Balthus just said you looked weird. Or your face looked weird or something. So I just wanted to come and see for myself, Happy admitted. Yuri replied, yeah, well, I just gave you your answer. I got into an argument, and I'm letting it get to me. He sighed. Anything else you need? Because I'm late for a meeting with someone. Still doing sketchy stuff, huh? Doesn't surprise me. Happy said with a small frown. I take it you're busy then? I wanted to go out with the two of you. No prob. We can do it on a different day. I should find Coco anyway. You wanted to go out? Huh. I'll tag along with ya if Yuri's gonna be a wet blanket. Although you're buyin', Happy. 'Cause I can't afford anything. Yuri said, I'm not rejecting your plans. You know I'd love to tag along, but I'm not in the most social mood. That's okay, Balthus. I'd rather go if Yuri was coming along with us, Happy said quickly. But it seems he's always busy lately. Doesn't it? Yeah. It does. Maybe we should force him to come along. Balthus grabbed Yuri's arm. Your big business meeting can wait. Let's do something fun, yeah. Yuri didn't look too amused, but he didn't want to bail on his friends when they desperately wanted him to come along. I'm the protector of Abyss, of course I'm busy. Yeah. But we're completely free to go up onto the surface whenever now. I'm sure you know that though, Happy said, folding her arms, so Abyss doesn't really need your attention 24/7. I suppose not. Eelfric never minds taking over some of the heavy lifting every now and then. Yuri sighed. Alright. I'll go. Where are we off to? Balthus cheered. Woo. He broogied Yuri. I'm thinking we could just do something simple. 'Cause I'm not spending my money on Balthus. Happy said, so, bake a cake in the kitchen. Yuri's face seemed to light up when she mentioned baking. That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Are you sure there's enough ingredients for that? Balthus groaned. Ugh, I'm no good at this sort of thing. Mixing is pretty much the only thing I'll be good for. With my strong biceps and all. He patted his arm. Happy said, good. I didn't wanna mix anyways. And yeah, Coco and I went out and bought some stuff a few days ago. I haven't seen her though, so I guess she won't be baking with us. Alright. Maybe she'd like to at least taste our creation when it's done. Let's get going before some other people steal the kitchen from us. Yuri began leading the way. Balthus followed. Can you fill it with cream? I guess we can put a frosting layer in between. You can't really inject cream into a cake though, Happy said, walking beside Yuri. What? Why not? I swear I had it once. Like that oozy gooey stuff? You can't put that in a cake. Balthus asked. That's too heavy anyway. A nice layer of whipped cream might be nice, and it will settle easier in the stomach, Yuri interjected as he led the group into the kitchen, where Ash was boiling something in a pot. Ash was singing to himself as he cooked. He danced a little as he shook the pot. Ash? Mind if we share the kitchen with you? Happy asked as they walked inside. Whatcha cookin' there? Oh. Ash didn't realize they were there, then got really embarrassed. Hi. Of course you can share the kitchen with me, I was just making some blessed jelly. He smiled. And singing a song that my lovely friend Annette taught me. Haha. Nobody really answered him though. Yuri started grabbing a bunch of mixing bowls. Balthus grabbed some ingredients. Does vanilla extract taste as good as it smells? Yuri snatched it from him. No, it doesn't. What are you saying? Happy took the bottle back from Yuri. It totally tastes as good as it smells. Actually, a lot better. Go on, have a swig. She handed the bottle out towards Balthus with a smile on her face. How could something that smells so good taste so bad? I don't believe you, Yuri. You're probably just saying that 'cause you wanna come down here and steal it for yourself. Balthus took it back from Happy, then immediately drank some like a shot. Who? Man, that's bitter. Ha. He took another taste. Not half bad. Yuri looked at Happy, confused. Okay. You have weird taste, Balthus. He took the bottle back and got out some flour. What the desh? Happy looked at Yuri and burst out laughing. I think that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Why did that just happen? She grabbed an egg from the pantry. Ash was watching them goof around, but it distracted him from his blessed jelly. The pot was boiling over. Oh. Dear. Sorry about that, friends. He exclaimed, dimming the fire. Still, none of the ashen wolves paid any attention to him. Yuri gathered some eggs, then handed the measuring cups to Happy. All right, scoop some flour into this bowl, and in the other bowl, we'll mix in the sugar, butter, and eggs. When Happy took the measuring cups from him, she accidentally grabbed his whole hand and got embarrassed, then dropped the measuring cups. Shoot. She bent down and scooped them all up, Sorry, she tucked some hair behind her ear and followed his directions. Okay. Trying to make a move there, Happy. Yuri gave her a teasing smirk, then helped her pick up the measuring cups before cracking the eggs into the bowl. Balthus was wandering around in the pantry. What kind of food coloring are ya gonna need? How about brown? What? No. If we wanted brown we would make the frosting chocolate. That would be super misleading. Happy ignored Yuri's comment. How about purple? Light purple. Yuri's gonna match with the cake. Balthus started laughing, and he dug out some purple food dye and put it on the table. Yuri started opening some butters and dumping some sugar in a bowl to make the frosting. I suppose you're right. And will we put pink accents on it as tribute to my makeup? He asked. Balthus threw a capsule of pink sprinkles at Happy. Catch. Oh haha what? Happy acted like she didn't suggest that color on purpose. Yeah, I guess you will match the ow. The sprinkles hit her in the neck. Balthus. She snapped, what the heck? That was literally a hard throw. She picked them up. I'm incapable of throwing it gently. I'm too strong. Balthus kept digging around, and he found some marshmallows. He took one and put it in his mouth. Chubby bunny. He took another one. Chubby bunny. He made it up to like 5 marshmallows. Yuri. Yuri gave Balthus a weird look, adding the dye to the frosting and stirring it up. Happy, would you start mixing the flour in with the rest of the ingredients? Balthus isn't doing much to help. Yeah sure, Happy quickly grabbed the spoon, not realizing his hand was still on it. She drew her own hand back. Sorry Yuri. Let go please, she said awkwardly. She looked at Balthus. Actually. I don't wanna mix anymore. B. Spit out those marshmallows and come mix this. Yuri looked at Happy. What? You don't wanna mix together? It's more romantic that way. He chuckled, then let go. Balthus walked over. Leave it to me. He started mixing really hard and really fast, in a way cooking mama wouldn't like. A bunch of the batter flung out and slapped Happy in the face. Some got in Yuri's hair. Balthus. Seriously. Happy started searching for a rag or a paper towel. Balthus. Yuri gasped, holding the lock of his hair that the batter got on. Watch it. You don't have to mix it so hard, it shouldn't be so runny. Ash gave Happy a little rag with leaves printed on it. Here, why don't you use this? He went back to his blessed jelly. Oh thanks Ash. She kind of forgot he was there. Happy wiped her face, then handed the rag to Yuri. Here. I don't know if this'll get the batter out of your hair, but it'll have to do for now. Ugh. Thanks. Yuri took the rag and got out as much as he could. He even wetted his hand before gently washing it out. Balthus, I swear if you mess up my hair one more time today, he sighed, then went back to the frosting. Happy, come taste this. He put a little on a spoon, then held it out for her. Balthus finished the batter. His station was quite messy afterwards. Happy probably should have taken the spoon from him, but she didn't. She leaned forwards and ate it while he was holding it. Tastes good to me, she said with a small shrug. Very purple. Yuri started laughing, wondering why she had him feed it to her. Balthus watched it happen and laughed as well, but it was more because of her answer. Ha! Purple's a color, not a flavor. Yuri put the spoon down. I'll take that as a compliment. Alright, now we just gotta pop these in the oven. He put the batter into a cake pan, then left it in the oven to bake. Balthus. I think more cake batter got on the counter than in the pan, but it should turn out just fine. Can you help me clean this up? Happy asked Balthus, using the same rag that they just used to wipe some batter from the counter. Please. Yeah. It's my mess. I'll pitch in. Balthus started cleaning up his giant mess. Yuri started doing the dishes, cleaning out all the bowls and all the cups. He looked back at Happy over his shoulder for a second, then went back to what he was doing. Happy spun around to put away a clean bowl, and smacked right into Balthus's ABS. Watch where you're standing, Happy awkwardly said. She was getting in all sorts of weird situations in the kitchen today. Was that like slamming right into a brick wall? Balthus laughed. I worked out extra hard earlier, he said, taking the clean bowl from her and recklessly tossing it into the cupboard. Yuri neatly set out the frosting and sprinkles next to each other. Yes it was. Just like a brick wall. Happy for some reason added, is that why you smell so bad? It wasn't even true, she was just trying to alleviate some of the awkwardness that she was feeling. She frowned. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't even know why I said that. You don't smell. Hey. I showered. No woman wants to get together with a smelly man. It turns them off. Balthus said, I use a manly fragrance when I scrub. Yuri said, there's nothing wrong if you wanna smell like flowers, Balthus. I caught a whiff of Prince Dimitri as he walked past the other day, and he smelled like lavender. I might just start using that scent for myself. You guys both actually smell really good right now, Happy said honestly. But B, you usually smell like alcohol. And that's really not a good thing. The cake finished in the oven, and the timer went off. Yuri put some oven mitts on and pulled it out of the oven. He set it down on a spinny tray so that they could decorate it. Balthus said, I do. I wasn't even drinking yet today. Here. He took some of the vanilla extract and flicked it on himself. How about now? Yummy. Happy said, giving the frosting another little mix. It sounded like she was talking about the way Balthus smelled, but she really wasn't. She grabbed a knife and began cutting the top layer off the cake so they could put whipped cream in the center. Oops. I broke some cake off. She popped it into her mouth, then immediately spit it onto the floor. Ew. Zing. Whoops. Sorry. I usually don't let any zing make its way into my confections, hopefully that was the only zingy bite, Yuri said, helping to add the whipped cream. He made it perfectly, so he couldn't resist tasting some off the tip of his finger. This is delicious. Can't wait to see how it tastes all together. I don't wanna eat it anymore. That was actually disgusting. Happy cleaned up her mess. All that hard work for nothing, she sighed. What? Because one bite of zing. Yuri finished putting the cream on the inside, then started frosting the outside. What if I fed it to you? He laughed to himself, concentrating on the cake. What? Happy frowned. No, that literally wouldn't even take the zing taste out of it. She said, I think Balthus may have put too much vanilla extract in. What? It's good. Balthus said, I thought it would really add some nice zing to the cake. I love zing. Let me eat it. He said, rubbing his hands together. Yuri finished adding the last of the frosting and sprinkles to the cake. There. Done. Okay. Balthus wanna be the first to try a slice? Tell me if all of it has zing in it. 'Cause if so, I real don't wanna eat it, Happy said. Yeah. Gimme. Balthus took a plate, holding it out. Yuri cut him a slice, then waited for him to try it. Instead of using utensils, he picked it up with his hand and started eating it. This is good. You guys should make a business out of this. No zing though. I wish I got zing. He frowned. Yuri cut a little piece for himself and started eating it. This isn't half bad. I've baked better cakes in my lifetime, but this will do. Happy didn't take a slice. I think it's because B made a huge mess, she said, sitting down on a wooden chair beside the pantry door. You don't want any? Are you sure? Yuri asked. At least try a bite. Maybe if you get a bite with no zing, you'll change your mind. He took a piece with his fork and offered it to her. Okay. Happy quickly moved forward and took a bite from his fork. Oh. No zing. She raised her eyebrows. That's pretty yummy actually. See? Not so bad. Have some more. Yuri handed her the rest of his cake. Here. Just have the rest of mine. I'm kinda full. Balthus was chowing away at a second slice. Oh. Okay. Thanks, I guess. Happy took the slice. She took one more bite, and it had zing. Nope. Nope. Nuh-uh. I'm done. She put the plate down. Sorry about that. I'm not gonna make you eat the rest of it, if you don't want to take your chances with the zing. Yuri started cutting another piece, putting it in a plate. He wrapped it in tin foil. What's that for? Happy pointed to it. Is that one for Coco? She started cleaning off her plate in the sink. Yep. I was gonna give it to her as a peace offering, since we had a little argument. Hope you don't mind. Yuri hoped that it was a piece that didn't have a lot of zing in it. Why would I mind? Happy asked. I hope you two make up. She really loves you, yeah no. Not in like, a creepy way. More of an, oh my gosh I love my best friend, kinda way. Yeah. And I love her back in an, oh my gosh I love my best friend way, too. I don't like fighting with her, so I wanna make up as quickly as I can. Good for you, Happy said to him, putting her clean plate away. I hope everything works out. You should come tell me about it afterwards. You know, if things work out. She shrugged. All right. I'll keep that in mind. You're a good friend of mine too, Happy. Don't you forget that. Yuri wiped off his hands since he had a little frosting on them. I may not love you in the same way I love Constance, but I'm still as loyal as ever. He nodded to her. Ouch. Okay. That hurt, Happy said with a small frown. You really didn't have to say that, that was mean, Yuri. She actually seemed a little bit hurt by his comment. What? No, I didn't mean it in the way you think. I don't think you're supposed to love two friends the same way. Different isn't the same as unequal, Yuri told her. Okay. So what exactly did you mean then? Do you love me like the way you love Balthus? 'Cause that might be an insult as well, she joked. No. Definitely not. Balthus and I, well, let's just say we're brothers. Balthus shook his shoulders. Brothers till the end. Yuri nodded. Yeah. I guess you could put it that way. But I guess with you, it's more like I'm grateful to have you by my side. You teach me to appreciate things that I would overlook if I didn't have you. So, thanks. Yuri smiled. Okay, what's going on? Why are we getting all mushy-gushy all of a sudden? Happy secretly loved it, but didn't want to admit it to either of them. Balthus said, I dunno. Yuri started it. He flicked some flour at him, and it of course got in his hair. Yuri shot him a glare. Stop it. I've had enough. I gotta leave this kitchen before I end up having to wash my hair again today. He took his apron off and hung it up, starting to walk out with the wrapped up piece of cake. If you're gonna have a flour fight, have it with Happy. He stopped in front of the counter, then gave Happy a smile. Catch you later, Happy. He started walking off with the cake. Happy waved to him, but only a tiny wave. Bye Yuri, see you later, she said, then turned her attention to Balthus, pointing at him. Don't even think about it. Balthus was poised to throw some flour at her, but instead he ate it for some reason. Happy walked over to him. Good boy. She stood on her tiptoes and patted the top of his head like a dog a few times. Okay. Bye. She turned and exited the kitchen. Meanwhile, Yuri made it back down to Abyss, looking for Constance. Once he made it to her bedroom door, Yuri knocked. Hello? Constance, it's me. I know we had a rough day yesterday, but I wanna talk. Please. He stood with the cake platter on the palm of his hand. Yuri. Constance spoke quietly. She opened the door, extending the mirror out towards him. Here. You wanted this back, did you not? She spoke sadly. No. Keep it. Can we talk? Yuri asked, peeking inside. I brought you some cake, I thought you might like it, he said, hoping she would let him in. Cake? Yuri, is this a trick? She stepped aside so he could walk in. Please, tell me this isn't a trick. That would be very, very mean, she frowned. A trick? No, Constance, I really have cake for you. See. He walked inside, then handed her the plate with the cake on it. I added extra frosting to this piece just for you. Watch out, though. You might get a little zing, but it's the thought that counts, right? He said. What did you want to speak to me about? She took the plate from him, and set it down on the desk. She really wanted to eat it, but decided to wait. Happy reminded me of how strong our bond is today, Yuri started, and it got me thinking. I don't want to fight with you. At all. I sort of lost my cool yesterday. I was afraid of spilling secrets that I wasn't ready to reveal. He paused. If it makes you feel better. I had a chat with Sylvain yesterday. He came to tell me that he broke up with Felix because of what we did, and we agreed what we did was wrong. And we're never gonna do anything like that again. It shouldn't have happened in the first place, you were right. But I just wanted to tell you. I took your advice. Yuri. Now see, was that so hard? She smiled. I am so very proud of you for taking accountability. She skipped forward and squeezed him in a hug. And yes. I know. I was right. She gloated. The hug made Yuri smile, and he hugged her back for a little while before letting go. All I had to do was own up to my mistakes. And you helped me out with that. So thank you, he said. I knew you were right all along. I just didn't want to admit it at first. He shrugged. From now on, I'll make sure to take your advice. Are we good? Yes. We are good. Constance nodded. Thank you for apologizing. I very much appreciate it. I hope Sylvain learned his lesson as well, she said, unwrapping the slice of cake. He wasn't doing too well when I talked to him, but I'm sure he has. I'm just hoping Felix will still take my offer to hide down here once the time is right. That is, if the two of them get back together. Despite what I did, I'm rooting for them. He waited to see if she would get any zing. She sniffed the cake, but didn't eat any. She gently placed it back down on the desk. Well, if I recall correctly, you said they were broken up. It sounds to me like they won't be needing refuge anytime soon. No. But when the time comes, we'll accept them. If the time comes, that is, he said, crossing his arms. I'm done meddling with their business. From now on, I'm leaving those two alone. Very good. You should have done that in the first place. She mumbled the last part under her breath. But anyways. Thank you for the cake. You're welcome. Enjoy it, Yuri said. But yeah, I'm definitely not leading by example. It sort of pains me whenever the children here tell me they want to grow up to be just like me. They really don't want to do that. Anyway. I'll see you around, Constance. He gave her a wave, then started heading out. Okay Yuri, she said with a heavy sigh. Take some time for yourself today. Maybe soak in a nice bath, she suggested, following him to the door. That sounds nice. Balthus kept ruining my hair, so maybe I'll go make sure it's still got its luster. He felt his hair. Oh. Great. It's crusty. I really gotta go. He looked back at her, then continued ahead. Yeah. I noticed it looked icky but I didn't want to say anything. Constance giggled. Go wash that out. She closed the door behind him. Chapter 78, Sleeping Beauty. That same day, sometime in the afternoon, Ferdinand was outside in the tea area, having a chat with Laurence. Both of them were smiling. After a few moments, Laurence gifted Ferdinand with a really nice, expensive tea set before heading off. Ferdinand stayed in the gardens, and Laurence was walking through the main hall. Lysithea approached Laurence. Whoa, that looked really expensive. Is there a reason why you decided to give it to Ferdinand? I mean, wouldn't you want to keep that? Laurence turned to the side to acknowledge Lysithea. Greetings, Lysithea. I hope the day is treating you well. He stopped walking. That was merely a gift to secure our relations moving forward. I cannot help but admire his artful taste and noble ambitions, so I decided to gift it to him. He seemed proud of himself. Oh. Well, that was kind of you, I guess. Isn't it kind of weird to bribe people with gifts? She asked, folding her arms. You know what I mean. Bribe? Lysithea. This is not a bribe. This is a heartfelt exchange. Ferdinand and I have such strong, healthy ties. Those ties would remain taut even without my friendly gesture, but giving him something thoughtful just makes that cord even stronger. Anyways. I found these. Lysithea held up a small pink feather toy, and a weird-looking candle. I was wondering if you could lend me your sleuthing skills. Unless you're busy. Who could these belong to? Lawrence asked, taking the weird candle from her and observing it. I've never seen anything like this before, actually, it's rather charming. It would look nice on the mantle. He pictured it in his room, then pointed at the toy. Perhaps that is meant for some sort of animal? Maybe one of the cats by the pond would enjoy swatting it around. Yes. It's a cat toy. I think, she said, moving up on her tiptoes to dangle it in front of Lawrence's face. But that candle? Honestly, I have no idea. Doesn't it kinda look like the Archbishop? Now that you mention it, it does. I did not notice that at first glance. He turned the candle over in his hands to get a better look. This either belongs in a chapel, or to someone who admires the Archbishop, he concluded. As for the cat toy, I do not know who would own that. No pets are permitted at the monastery. Right? They're gonna get in so much trouble if they secretly have a pet. Lysithea exclaimed. But as for the candle, whose do you think it is? I'm guessing neither of these are yours. Absolutely not. Why would I risk breaking monastery rules? And, as much as my life is affected by the Church of Ceros, this is not a candle I would own. You know, this place could really use a lost and found. Oh, I agree. But we're pretty good at this kind of thing. Maybe we could serve as the lost and found, she said with a small shrug. Want to take the candle? I can take the toy and find the owner. Maybe we should set up our own stall. You know, for those who have lost items? It can be a place for them to retrieve them, Lawrence suggested. But yes, I shall take the candle. I already have an idea of who it may belong to. Lawrence, you're a genius. We can use the leftover wood from rebuilding the greenhouse. Lysithea smiled. L&L lost and found. How does that sound? L&L. It has such a nice ring to it. It sounds magnificent to me. I shall make preparations as soon as I can. I do not think it will be difficult to procure the materials. He smiled, excited to get their business started. And I see that it should be a non-profit organization. We are strictly here to help others find their precious lost items. The gratitude of the populace will be rewarding enough. Oh yes, I agree. They can make donations if they'd like, but we'll put it to a good cause. I'm going to find Ignatz and ask him if I can borrow some paints. She was so excited. Splendid idea. He can help us market and decorate. I'd like to say that I possess great artistic skills, but I do know that his talent surpasses mine in that regard. Haha. Lawrence smiled when he realized how excited she looked. Oh no, I can do the work myself. All I need is some paint. She nodded. I'm gonna get to work. I'll meet up with you in the marketplace tomorrow, be there. She started running off. Affirmative. Let me know if you need any assistance, Lysithea, he called after her, waving. Now, I should get to work on finding the owner of this candle, he thought to himself as he began walking off. There was a knock on Linhard's door later that day. It had started to rain, and it was a little bit gloomy. Linhard was lying in bed, facing away from the door. He was on his stomach, flipping through a book when he heard the knock. He didn't feel like getting up, so he just turned his head to face the door and said, "It's open." "Who is it?" The door opened, and Catherine peeked her head in. "Hey, Linhard. Mind if I have a quick chat with you?" She didn't even ask before stepping inside. "Look, I'm sure you know this, but Flane isn't doing well. She still hasn't woken up. Lady Rhea doesn't know what to do, so now we're turning to you for help. Think you can figure out what's going on?" He wasn't expecting Catherine to come in, so he sat up straighter and put on the slippers that Dorothea made for him. He said, "You want me to try and figure out why she hasn't woken up? And you think Seath would let me even get close?" he asked. "Believe me, I have my theories. But I'm afraid Seath would keep me from doing my best work. Seath is desperate. He's in a worse state than I have ever seen him. Won't you just come with me? She shook her head. I'm worried Flame is never going to wake up. Fine, fine. I'm coming. But if Seath chases me away, don't say I didn't warn you. Linhard got out of bed, then grabbed a few books from his shelf before joining Catherine. Lead the way. Ah, thank you, Linhard. She clasped her hands together as she led the way towards the infirmary. Don't worry, I'll handle Seath for you if things go south. All right, she said just a moment before they entered. With all due respect, Catherine. I appreciate you seeking me out. But wouldn't Professor Hanneman be better suited for the job? His expertise far outclasses mine. He walked in with Catherine. Seath was still at Flame's bedside, and he had heavy bags under his eyes from the loss of sleep he'd been experiencing. He was writing something down on a sheet of parchment with a quill, and looked up when he saw them. Seath. Catherine spoke softly, Linhard here has some theories about what's going on with Flame. I brought him here in hopes that he can get us closer to awakening her. Seath grew protective the moment Linhard got close to her bed. If you so much as lay a finger on my sister, he said. Linhard shook his head. I'm not going to touch her. But I am going to talk to you about what I suspect. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been spending a lot of time in the library lately. Specifically in the crest studies section. I believe that Flame's irregular sleep may be related to her crest, which I've identified as the crest of Sethlian. Saint Sethlian's powers were healing-centered. Did Flame use her crest to heal and end up using too much energy? Seath suddenly looked sad. He stood up. Not during the ambush, no. He didn't want to give anything away. Really? Wasn't she the source of that weird light that knocked out all the mages? I swear it came from her, and that weird bubble-looking thing she had. I don't know if I was imagining things or what, said Catherine. I wasn't aware of the source of the expelling magic. Did it truly come from Flame? If so, that would help me find a way to cure her. Linhard looked at Seath. Seath stared back at him, then sighed. It may have been Flame. But I was not aware of her capabilities until that moment. Even I am in disbelief that it was her. Linhard looked down at Flame. Flame remained unmoving. Her hair was tangled, and her lips were chapped. Catherine sighed. I think it came from Flame. Not sure what magic she's studying, but it sure is powerful, I'll tell ya. I don't know if this is magic that is able to be learned. It's something intrinsic. Something passed down by the blood. He flipped one of his books open, skimming a page from it. He didn't say anything, but he just looked skeptically at Seath before closing it. I've concluded that this power comes from her crest. I suppose the only way to rouse her from this sleep is to make sure she regenerates all of the energy she has lost. Okay. And how do we do that? Catherine added, she's been sleeping for days now, there's no way she hasn't regained her energy by now, right? I don't know. She generated a lot of power. If you remember correctly, she expelled all of our enemies in one go. And, like you said, she was using some sort of protective magic as well. Linhard put his hand to his chin as he thought. Perhaps some sort of healing magic might work on her? That sounds like a basic solution, and it's probably already been tried. He frowned. She's not dead. I'm guessing she'll revive at some point. He said, this might sound rather silly, but have you tried bringing things she likes to her bedside? I've only been in here a few times. I haven't brought her anything, Catherine admitted. It seems Seath is always talking to her and bringing her things, though. She does enjoy fish. And forget-me-nots, Seath said, then looked at Catherine. Maybe the prescience of these items would wake her? Would you mind procuring some? He asked her. Yeah. I can try. I'll swing by with some tomorrow. She nodded her head. You know, I spoke to Lady Rhea about this. She for some reason thinks Byleth can cure her. She can't exactly explain why, she just keeps saying, the goddess wills it. Whatever that's supposed to mean. She said that, huh? Maybe I should have a chat with the professor. She bears the crest of flames, maybe that could be the answer? It seems like the only logical solution. Either that, or the crest of Ceros. Linhard said, I'll fetch the professor. Seath, stay here. He walked out and went to find her. Catherine raised her eyebrows. Oh. Okay then. Good luck. She waved to Linhard, then looked down at Flame once more. Byleth was nearby, writing in a small journal. She saw Linhard, and acknowledged him. Hello there. Yes, Professor, I've actually been looking for you. Linhard approached her. Catherine asked me to help find a cure for Flame. I heard that the Archbishop believes you can help her, and honestly, all signs point to the crest of Flames being the answer. Would you mind coming to Flame's bedside? He asked. She looks terrible. And Seath is beside himself. Yes. I spoke with Rhea about this earlier. She claims my blood can cure Flame. I don't exactly trust her or Hanneman to take a sample from me for some reason, so I've been putting it off. You, I trust. She began walking with him. Wait, you need me to collect a... Linhard paused, stopping his stride once they were outside the door. Oh no. I can't do that. If I have to, focus on your blood for too long, I'll get sick. I'm feeling faint just thinking about it, really. His face went pale. Oh. Really now? Perhaps Seath can do that part for you, Byleth offered, looking at him. Don't feel forced to do something you aren't comfortable with. You'd let Seath do it over Hanneman or the Archbishop? He asked her. Believe me, I want to help, I just don't know how well I'll do if there's a lot of blood involved. The rest? I can handle. It's just a sample. A small vial, Byleth said. I actually have it. Here. She pulled a small blood-filled tube from her bag and handed it to Linhard. See? Not much at all. We don't even know if it'll work. Flame may end up inheriting a second crest, at least that's what Rhea said. You had it ready? Oh, okay. We'll just, put that away for now. Linhard hid the vial in his bag. Out of sight, out of mind, he sighed. You can trust me. I promise. I'll make good use of your blood in order to cure Flame, if possible. Wait. What did you say? A second crest? That's potentially dangerous. Actually, it's highly likely Flame's life will be altered drastically as a result. Is this an ethical method of treatment? Look, if we're able to use my blood, we can try that. But I have a feeling that it's not going to work, Byleth said. I have been working with Mercedes and Manuela to study light healing magic. I think I have it down pretty well. I'm going to try that if you are unable to use my blood. Why don't we try that first? And if that doesn't work out, I guess we're going to have to try the blood thing, huh? Something tells me this is a matter of time, and that she'll eventually wake up. Why rush the process when we could risk hurting her? That's just my opinion, he told Byleth. I feel the same, she said as they entered the infirmary. She looked at Seath, then at Flame. May I try to wake her? Seath gave an unsure look at Byleth and Linhard, but stayed where he was at Flame's side. If you must, he held on to Flame's hand. Linhard didn't want to get too close. Catherine backed up as well. Byleth stood in front of Flame, and hovered her hand just above the girl's chest. A soft glow emitted from Byleth's palm, and struck Flame hard in the chest. Byleth backed up slightly. I didn't mean for it to be that strong, she exclaimed. She wasn't used to Suthi's full power yet. Flame, with her lips parted slightly, clenched her eyes like she was in pain. She still didn't wake up. Her eyelids were twitching, though. Catherine said, do it again. I think we're getting somewhere. Seath gasped when the magic came out stronger than intended, and he gripped her hand more tightly. Flame. He looked at Byleth. You must treat her delicately. He looked back at Flame, but noticed she was starting to wake up. Oh, Flame, please come back to us, please, he pleaded. Flame mumbled in her sleep. F. Catherine looked at her. F. Friend. Oh wait. Fish? She wants fish? Flame mumbled again. Father. Catherine looked at the others. Father. She wants her father. Linhard looked at Seath when Catherine said that he had already caught on to their facade a long time ago. He didn't say anything, he just looked at Seath like he knew. Seath still had his hand tightly bound to Flane's. Flane, he didn't want to give away their secret, but there was sort of nothing he could do about it. He looked at the rest of the group, then back at Flane again. I'm right here. I'm always right here. Right with you, he spoke gently. Chapter 79, Father and Daughter. I'm right here. I'm always right here. Right with you, Seath spoke gently. Catherine sighed. Seath, that's never gonna dash. Flane moved around a little bit, and gently opened her eyes. Her breathing intensified for a moment and she sat up, sucking in deep breaths to steady herself. Catherine raised her eyebrows. Well, I'll be. Seath gasped when she sat up. Flane. He got up, then sat on the side of the bed so that he was next to her and put his hand on her back. He was obviously relieved beyond belief, but he still looked worried. Are you all right? Flane. He waited until he finally had an answer to hug her. He didn't want to possibly hurt her. Flane coughed slightly. I am okay, she said after a bit. She sniffled and threw her arms around Seath's neck. Oh father. I was so afraid. Seath hugged her and held her head against him, so happy that he could almost cry. He didn't want to let go of her. Never do that again, please. I'm glad you're safe, but I can't lose you, he said. Father. What in the name of all that is green is going on here? Catherine said. Byleth said plainly, I think he is her father, Catherine. Flane started sobbing. I could hear you. And I could hear all of the stories you told, and I could feel your hand, and you brushing my hair. But I could not speak back to you. I was trying and trying. You could. Seath loosened up a little on his hug. He gently put his hand on the side of her face, then hugged her close again. I made sure to take good care of you while you were asleep, should you never open your eyes again, he said. I will never let it happen again. Ever. Wow, this is emotional. Catherine was kinda ruining the moment. This is truly touching. Flane cried into Seath for a while before pulling away and saying, I am very hungry. I shall cook up some fish for you straight away. Be sure not to overindulge tonight, as your stomach may not be used to large amounts of food. Seath cleared his throat, clearly trying to keep his tears in check. Linhard decided to leave so that he wasn't intruding on the moment. Flane nodded. Okay. Thank you very much. I love you. Byleth loitered for a moment before following Linhard, allowing them to have this moment with one another. Catherine just stared, as if she wasn't sure what just happened. Seath looked at Catherine, then narrowed his eyes a little. He didn't seem mad, just stern. You mustn't tell a soul. Do you hear me? He told her. It is imperative that that information is kept a secret. For safety reasons. Tell me you understand. Oh. Oh right, yeah. Catherine seemed confused. Sorry. I'm gonna, yeah. She gave him a look before leaving the room. Flane sat patiently. I will wait for my fish. But, no. Actually, I don't think I ought to leave your side right now. I'll send a medic to prepare you some fish and I'll be sure to tell them to cook up the best fish you have ever tasted. Seath gave her a little kiss on the head, then went to go talk to a medic about bringing her food. Okay, Flane said with a small nod. Thank you. I do not feel strong enough to get up yet. I'm so sorry. She seemed sad about it. Seath came back. Sorry? Oh no, no. He shook his head. Do not be sorry. You saved the monastery, you ensured the survival of all who live here, he said. You saved me, Flane. I was trying to, she said. Especially you, of course. I am so happy that my sacrifice was able to save the whole school, she exclaimed, but coughed a bit. Please, don't strain yourself. Seath gently patted her back when she coughed. Your food shall be here shortly. You'll need it in order to regain your strength. Hopefully you're better sooner than later, he frowned, feeling at fault for her coma. He also felt like he failed her when she got kidnapped. He was about to be more protective of her than ever. I've rested for so long, but I am still so very tired. Flame shook her head. I'm feeling sad, father. And I don't know why. She looked up at him. It's okay. I'll be here to keep you feeling happy. You deserve to feel joy. He gently laid her down, hoping that she would rest. I'm feeling sad too. As though I am to blame for all of this. What? No, you are not. I was the one who decided to use my power. And I even knew it was too much for me. But you used it to protect me, and for that? I feel deeply sorry. And then, when you were kidnapped, I took my eyes off of you for only a moment. But I was okay then. And I am okay now, she told him. She shakily reached her hand out towards him. Please don't leave, at least not yet. You can't, she begged. I am not going to leave. I promise. I will sit with you and read you stories and even sing to you if you'd like, he said. Anything to make you feel better again. It pains me to see you so weak. The medic came back with Flane's meal, and handed it to her in a tray. Oh. Thank you. Thank you so much. Flane sat up again and dug into her meal immediately. This is incredible, she exclaimed, feeling a rush of energy with each bite she took. Seeth's frown immediately turned into a smile when he saw that she was enjoying her food. Perhaps, once you regain your strength back, we should head to the pond and do some fishing together. Oh yes. Yes, I would love that. Flane smiled. Maybe even take a trip all the way to the coast, she asked, a hopeful tone to her voice. I think that would be delightful. That way, you can see your mother again. Seeth smiled softly, folding his hands like he was in prayer. Here, would you like some? She poked some fish with her fork and held it out towards Seeth. It is seasoned to perfection. She smiled. I would, Seeth said, taking the fork from her. He took a bite of the fish, then handed her the fork back. Seasoned to perfection is an understatement. I'd go to say this is the best cooked fish I've ever tasted. I wonder who prepared such a palatable dish for us. You know, it must have been Dida or Ash. Or maybe them together, if I was lucky, she said, eating the remainder of her food. Yes, they are very good chefs, aren't they? We're lucky to have them as students here. He would never let either of them get too close to Flane, though. Even though they were least likely to ever harm her in any way. And they are all fortunate to have you as their classmate as well. Oh. That is so sweet. You better not be saying that only because we are family. She giggled, and as she put her plate off to the side, she began to look very sleepy again. I am not just saying that for those reasons. I mean it. Truly, and I think the others would agree as well. Seeth took the plate from her and set it aside, noticing that she looked sleepy. Suddenly, he became worried that she would fall asleep again and never wake up. Flane, are you feeling all right? Yes. I am just tired, she said. Even after sleeping for so long, I am so very tired. She wouldn't lay down though. Well, maybe you and I could play a game of Candyland. She seemed to be avoiding rest. Why, of course. Let me fetch the box from the closet. He made sure she was all right, then went to the closet in the medical wing. He rummaged through it a bit, then said to himself, I sure hope I do not land on Plumpy when I am all the way up by Queen Frostine. He started walking back over. Flane's eyes were slowly closing, then she would widen them again, and the cycle would repeat. She yawned. Can I be blue please? She asked. Yes, you may. I was going to pick green anyway. He set the board up and laid all the cards out. Seeth said, youngest player goes first. Okay, she picked a card, and the first one was Queen Frostine. Maybe Seeth set up the cards on purpose? She exclaimed sleepily, ah, hooray, already. She sloppily moved her piece all the way up. Oh. Would you look at that? Flane, you're already so far up the board. He pulled a card, and it was the space immediately after start. Looks like I will have a hard time catching up. He noticed she was sleepy, but wanted her to fall asleep naturally instead of forcing her, even though he knew she needed rest. She picked another card and moved, then it was Seetha's turn. On the third turn, Flame had already made it to the end. Yay! I win, she mumbled. That was a very good game, Flame. It feels nice to win, I am sure. He packed up the board. Now, shall I recite a story for you? Yes. I want to hear a story. She still wouldn't lay down. Or, maybe we shall go on a walk instead, she asked quietly. What would you rather do? I would like to tell you a story. He gently fluffed her pillow, trying to hint to her that it was time to lay down. Now, if you would get comfortable, I can begin telling you a tale of chivalry and love. Yes, I am completely comfortable, she lied, still sitting up. I am ready to hear the story, father. She forced a small smile. Flame, he looked at her. Please, lie down. I know you are not keen on going back to sleep, but I'd rather you fall asleep peacefully and naturally than pass out from exhaustion. No, because then I may not ever wake up. Not even when you shake me, or kiss my forehead, or squeeze my hands, she said to him. I cannot sleep. I do not want to go through that again. Please. You must try to sleep. I promise that you will wake up again. Cross my heart. He drew a small X over his heart, then gently tried to get her to lie down. I will sit with you the whole time you are resting to ensure that everything is all right. Just as I have been. Will you lay with me? Maybe if our hearts are close enough, then I will know to wake up in the morning, she asked, reaching over and clutching the top left side of his shirt. Yes. Of course. I doubt there will be ample room for me, but I shall do whatever it takes in order to keep you feeling safe. He climbed in next to her, then tucked her in like a little kid, almost like she was swaddled. She slept on his chest, all curled up and holding onto him. I love you so much, she mumbled. Please, do not leave until I awake. Promise me, she said quietly. I love you too, Seeth replied, protectively holding her to him so that she wouldn't be afraid. I will never leave you. I promise. And when I make a promise, I make great efforts to never break it, he said, giving her a hug. Flame fell asleep soundly, and of course, woke up safely the next morning. Chapter 80, A Lovely Stroll. The next morning, Ferdinand was in the common room upstairs, holding a piece of paper. He was staring at it, confused, shaking his head slightly. Petra walked over to Ferdinand. Ah, hello friend. It looks like you are having confusion. Do you think I could help you? Petra. I was just reading a letter from my father, he is telling me awfully strange things. Something is definitely off, here. He is not performing his duties as Prime Minister in a sensible way, and he is expecting me to pick up where he has left off once he passes the title down to me. How is that fair? He frowned. Oh. You mean to say that you are not liking the way that he is ruling, she asked. Do you two have differing beliefs? I guess that is one way to put it. I have noticed that he seems to be hiding something from me, but I cannot figure out what. He is being greedy and arrogant, the exact opposite of how a noble should conduct themselves. He sighed. He is leaving me a chaotic mess. And I am stressing over what I might have to do to fix things. If I know you, Ferdinand, I am having confidence that you will be able to fix any issue thrown your way no matter how complicated it may be getting, she reassured him. You really believe in me that much? He asked. Thank you. To be honest, I sort of. No, I really needed to hear that just now. I hope you are right, Petra. He gave her a small smile, feeling a little better. No, do not hope. Because I am being right, she said. You have been showing me so much in so little time. I look up to you greatly. It saddens my heart to be knowing we will be apart one day, when I must be returning to Brigid. He paused for a while, then frowned instead. Petra, he looked down at his letter, then back at her. He took a few steps towards her, then took a deep breath. Do not think of it that way. I will always come and visit you in Brigid, if we remain on good terms. Brigid and the Empire, I mean. Not us. You are too great of a friend to lose touch with. He said, we should do something together. I actually have something in mind, but I do not know if it is appropriate. His face turned red. Hmm? Whatever are you referring to? Petra asked, tilting her head slightly. Also, I want to be leaving the Empire as soon as I am able to. No sad feelings, she said. It is just something I would like to do. With you, if you will meet me at my quarters tonight, we can discuss it more there. He cleared his throat. But yes. I do not blame you. You are not here because you want to be here. You are here to keep the peace between Fodlan and Brigid. I at least hope, while you are here, that you have been able to be happy. Yes. Petra seemed to want to say more about the topic, but was avoiding it. She cleared her throat, changing the subject. Your room? At what time should I be going there? How about around 6:30? I would not arrive any later than that, he suggested. But, only if it is all right with you, and if you do not have anything going on at that time. I would not want to bother you or take your attention away from something that needs it more. No. I'm having nothing to do tonight. She shook her head. But now I am. She laughed. I will make sure to be there on time. Promise, she told Ferdinand with a small smile. He smiled back. All right, then it is a date. He laughed a little, but then blushed and cleared his throat. Anyway. I should probably get started on replying to this letter, but I have tonight to look forward to. So it should not be as stressful as I assumed it would be at first. Date? Ferdinand, are you saying that we are going on a date? She said, seeming scared all of the sudden. Like, a date, she added. What? And no. No. Ferdinand laughed nervously. I just meant. I mean, that is what the people of Fodlan say when they make plans to meet someone. He blushed brightly. Was that wrong to say? If so, I am gravely sorry. It is certainly not in my best interest to make you feel uncomfortable by any means, Petra. Ha ha. Petra bursted out laughing. I am just kidding, Ferdinand. I was making a joke. I am excited to be dating you, she said, giving him a friendly punch on the arm. I am not being uncomfortable, my heart is full of happiness. Why you are? Ha, ha ha. Ferdinand laughed, but still sounded a little nervous. You got me there, Petra. You certainly had me. He forced a goofy-looking smile. I am glad you're happy. But again, I apologize for any misunderstandings. This night should be nice. I promise you will be happy. He nodded once. Fantastic. She nodded her head. I will see you then, Ferdinand. I am looking forward to it. She gave him a small wave before exiting. He waved back, then let out a huge sigh when she left. He went to the Black Eagle's classroom to finish up his letter, wanting to get that out of the way before worrying about his plans. Before long, it was 6:30. Exactly when the clock turned 6:30, there was a small knock on Ferdinand's door. Ferdinand was making his bed, smoothing out all the creases. He wasn't paying attention to his clock, so when he heard the door, he was a bit startled. Oh, that must be her. He went to the mirror and straightened out his clothes and his hair, then dabbed some nice-smelling cologne on before opening the door. Good evening, Petra. I see you are as punctual as ever. He gave her a charming smile. Punctual. She repeated the word. Okay. I am not knowing what that means. But thank you, Ferdinand. You are having much punked as well, she said to him with a bright smile. He couldn't help but laugh. He thought it was really cute how she thought that's how you use that word. Punctual, it means timely. In other words, you are right on time. It is exactly 6:30. His smile lingered. Although, I suppose I do have much punked. I am a noble, we are expected to adhere tightly to strict schedules in order to succeed. Ah. Yes. Thank you for explaining the word to me. I'm still struggling with the language of Fodlan, as you can see, she explained. But what was your reason for inviting me here? Ah, yes. About that, his face got a little red, and he walked inside. I am worried about what you might think of this. To be honest, I am not sure if you will be okay with it. He grabbed a sheet of paper and put it into his pocket. She followed him into the room. Okay, she said in a confused tone. May I ask what you are thinking? I want to take you somewhere. But it is a surprise, he said, making sure that all of his collectibles and valuables were in place before heading back to the door. It might take a little while to get there. Is that okay with you? He asked. Yes. That is being all right with me. Her interest seemed piqued. She followed him out the door, walking close to him, but not too close. How long will it take? Days? Or more like hours? Hours. Maybe an hour and a half. But it will be worth it when we arrive, I promise. He closed the door and locked it behind him, then started walking. He brought her out of the monastery, and beyond town. First, I thought you might like a stroll through the woods. Well, it will be more like a hike. But it is nothing we cannot handle. Did you bring any sort of weapon with you? For protection. He patted a sword on his belt. Yes. I always have a hunting dagger on me, she replied, walking at his side. This is already being so much fun, Ferdinand. I enjoy hiking. Especially in Brigid, she told him. Care to tell me a bit more about what Brigid is like? I yearn to visit someday. But I do not want to go alone. I want to go with you. To have you show me what it is like to live there and rule over your people. He smiled at the thought. She smiled sadly. I am adoring Brigid. Though it is being nowhere near as cold as it is in parts of Fodlan. She said, my heart would be full of love to be showing you around Brigid. You know, I have some Brigid-style outfits back in my closet. I have some pieces that would fit you rather perfectly. Your build is being perfect for the male hunting gear, she said. You want me to try on clothes from Brigid? He laughed, but not because he thought it was funny. I am curious to see how I would look wearing something like that. I would probably look a little silly, but who is to say I cannot make anything look good? I am Ferdinand von Aegir, after all. He said, I am used to having to dress to impress, not to dress for practicality. No. Do not think you would look silly, I am thinking you would look rather beautiful, she said with a small smile. The clothing is very well made. It is being secure. It will not be falling off of you while you are moving around. Beautiful. He blushed, even though he knew what he was. I will take that as a compliment, Petra. He smiled, and the woodlands became thicker as they went. It became too dark to see, so he stopped, taking an unlit torch from his bag. I could use some help sparking a flame, he politely asked. Of course, but Ferdinand, this is getting a bit scary, is it not? Where exactly are we going? She knelt down and held the torch near the ground. It took a few tries, but she used a rock to start a fire at the top of the torch. She held it out in front of her and glanced around as they continued walking. Scary? Oh, no. I promise you, this is not supposed to be a hair-raising adventure. I intended for this to be a relaxing night for the two of us. I thought we could both use something calming. He waited for her to light the torch, then kept walking. The land was getting a bit rocky. I scouted the way a few days ago. It should be safe. I promise there is nothing to be afraid of. And, if something were to happen, I would take care of it. With your help, of course. You are strong and capable. Ah yes. Maybe I will be the one fending off the beasts. She laughed. You are being very kind to set up a hike like this. I have been missing outdoor adventures like this, Ferdinand. Especially since the state of the world is declining. I cannot believe how unsafe the world is. I hope I can be someone who does his part in protecting the lives of innocents who were dragged into this conflict. He frowned. Oh, careful. There is an uneven ledge. He took her hand, then helped her step over it. You? Ferdinand, you are being a brave leader, she told him, then paused as they stepped over the ledge. She blushed slightly, letting go of his hand as soon as she stepped over it. What I am saying, is that you are being a great man. You are going to do great things for the Empire. He stopped walking as they got to a flatter part of the terrain. The area was very rocky at this point, and the temperature was slightly warmer. Petra, that means a lot to me. Thank you. He stared back at her. And I know you will do great things for Brigid. You are undoubtedly suited to rule your people. I could not think of a better person for the position. Yes. She nodded. Thank you. That is meaning more to me than you know. She sighed. If only I were being able to leave the empire, her voice lowered as she looked around the area. If you want to leave so badly, Ferdinand paused. I could help you leave. He looked at her intently. Yes, I am very fond of you. I would even go as far to say that he trailed off. I think we will remain close for the rest of our lives. I would risk certain things to keep you happy. That is just how I feel. Ferdinand. You are being so kind. But no. I cannot be leaving. She didn't explain why, though. My heart is feeling a deep connection to you. I want to be staying close to you, even if I am being permitted to leave. You cannot mean that you would stay in the empire just because of me, he asked, sounding a little shocked. Do you really think so highly of me? I mean, highly enough to keep away from the homeland you love so dear. It is having many complications, she said to Ferdinand with a deep sigh. My heart is cherishing you. But there are other reasons as well why I cannot be leaving. She frowned. He frowned as well, looking off to the side. Then I will make your stay here easier to endure. I cannot imagine what it must be like being forced to leave your family and friends for an entirely political conflict. I am sorry. He sighed, then offered her his hand again, even though the path was clear. Petra hesitated before taking his hand. It is not being terribly bad. She shook her head. Because I get to be meeting new friends like you, she said with a small smile. It makes it worth it being away from home. Ferdinand started walking with her again, gently holding her hand. At first, I was uncertain about you. And not in a bad way, I assure you. Actually, I was a little intimidated. Out of character for me, I know. You were so strong and brave, and you always do the right thing. You are everything I aspire to be. He smiled. I have learned a lot from you. More than I am learning from the professor, I would wager. And I want to continue learning from you for as long as I possibly can. The further they walked, the steamier and damper the area became. Petra looked at him from the side. Me? Your heart is feeling all of those things for me, she asked quietly. Wow, Ferdinand. I am flattered. I am hoping to be teaching you many different things for a long time to come as well, because my heart is feeling all of those things for you, as well, she said, then glanced around the area. She really wanted to know where they were going. Watch your step coming up here. It is a little slippery, he told her to watch her step, yet he was the one slipping. He lost his footing for just a split second, putting his other hand on her arm real quick to steady himself. Whoa. Ferdinand. You were almost falling down. She gripped him tightly around the torso to stop him from falling. She gently kept her arm there as they continued to walk. Sorry about that. I almost lost my balance there. He walked her a little farther, then stopped in front of a large, steaming pool of warm, natural spring water. Since the night was a little chilly, the steam rising up was pretty noticeable. He let go of her hand and stopped down beside the water's edge, then swirled his hand around for a few seconds before standing again. Well, here we are. What do you think? He shook the droplets off his hand, looking between her and the water. Check the description for the links to the author.